Welcome into the Fantasy Football Forge. My name is Steve, and it is time for the Super Wild Card Weekend games. This isn't some sort of in-depth video at all, just kind of my predictions, a little bit of information about some of the games, but I'm really not going too much into it. If you saw my stuff last year, I did go fairly in-depth. I will probably go a little bit more in-depth into things next year again, but as far as this year goes, just a little bit of fun. So let's get into the video, starting off with the Saturday games. We've got the Cleveland Browns here going up against the Houston Texans at Houston, and they are favored by 2 points at Houston. So a little bit, if you know anything about odds here, usually you get 3 points at home. So definitely Vegas thinking that the Browns will be winning this game. Moneyline's not insane there. So yeah, the second game of the day will be Miami versus Kansas City. There's a lot there. So as far as Cleveland versus Houston, I think that is going to be a close game. We did just see these two face each other very recently in a game where Cleveland really whooped up on Houston. But there were a lot of pieces missing for Houston. I don't think we're going to see that same game. I do think that this will be a very close game. And when it comes to betting, I really don't want to bet anything here. I don't want to bet on that spread. I don't want to bet on that over-under. I don't want to bet on the money line. If I'm betting the over-under here, the total, 44.5 points, if I think that Houston's going to be winning, then I'm probably going with the over. If I think that Cleveland's going to be winning, then I'm probably sticking with the under is where my mind goes. But ultimately, I have the score. I'm thinking it's 20-17 Cleveland winning the game against Houston. That's the prediction I put forward here. I could see this game, once again, going in any which direction. I would feel a little bit more confident in Houston if they had all of their weapons, meaning Tank Dell. I do think that that's going to hurt that offense enough against a good Cleveland defense. Then tomorrow night, we got Miami going up against Kansas City in Kansas City, where we have a weather alert. I saw that it could get as low as negative 30 with the wind chill throughout the game in Kansas City on Saturday night. So that would obviously be very cold, and that's kind of, to me, the ultimate equalizer in a game like this. Now I'm seeing the line is actually spread. I had it at -4.5 yesterday. Now it's up to -5 in favor of Kansas City at -5, as you can see. So other people are feeling differently, and I get why. But first, let me lay out the argument why intuitively you would think that this should work in favor of Miami. Of course, very, very cold games like this. I shouldn't say totally intuitive, because the initial instinct is Miami, cold weather, oh my gosh, no chance. But in cold weather games, usually the running game is the most important factor. Teams will, in this kind of cold weather, begin to abandon the pass, tighten the game up, and there should be a lot of running. Well, Miami is the better running team and has the better running defense here. Let me throw a couple of numbers at you. On average, Miami has 27 rushing attempts per game. That's 15th in the league on average. Of course, we'd expect in this game, both of these teams will be running more. But average yards per carry is 5.1 yards per carry. That's first in the league, the best rushing team in the league on offense via yards per carry and touchdowns per game. 1.6 average rushing touchdowns per game for this offense. Huge. And then you look at the defensive side of the ball, and they're ranked 6th. On average, they only allow 3.8 yards per carry to opposing offenses. Now, when we look at Kansas City, their defense, on the other hand, is ranked 24th over the entirety of this season, averaging 4.5 yards per carry to the opposing offense. Look at the rushing, ranked 25th overall compared to 15th. Yards per carry, 4.3 compared to that 5.1. That's about middle of the league, 13th. Average touchdowns per game, rushing touchdowns, 0.5. That's 26th in the league. Not great numbers there when you compare these rushing teams, offenses compared to another. And same with the defenses, both working in favor of Miami, if you think that this game comes down to the rushing. That said, I do think that Kansas City should have rushed more this season, And I think that's in part because I do think that they have had a good rushing attack. And I am optimistic about that factor. I'm optimistic about Kansas City's defense too. I don't think that they can't stop the run. I just don't think that it's been a concern of theirs to stop the run. I think they care about stopping the pass first, limiting that. They'll allow teams to gash them a little bit on the ground, and then tighten up in situations where it's clearly a run situation or something like that. So, yeah, I'm a little bit torn on this one, more so than I would be if it was just a normal weather game. But I'd be taking Kansas City in that scenario just because of how banged up Miami appears to be coming into this game, especially on defense, very banged up. Now, I don't know. Either way, I think it should be a pretty darn good game. I don't have a score prediction here for you, but as far as the betting goes, I said that I'm taking Miami at the plus 4.5. So obviously at plus 5, I'm going to be taking Miami there. I'm not betting on the money line for this game. I really don't know which team I think will win this game. I'm a little bit torn. Although I am predicting here officially Kansas City, because I can't just sit on the fence completely, that I think that Kansas City will end up winning this game. As far as the over-under at 44, due to the weather, I am going to go with the under here at 44 points. I'd take the under there if I were betting this game. So there's my thoughts on that. That's going to be one of the games with the most thoughts, but we do have another weather alert coming up with the first game on Sunday, that being Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Currently plus 9, minus 9 for Buffalo, in favor of Buffalo to win this game. It was minus 10 yesterday when I originally looked at this morning earlier. It was minus 9.5, down to minus 9. And I do think that we're seeing in this game that people are thinking that this weather is the ultimate equalizer. Like I said, for that Kansas City-Miami game, where it gives Pittsburgh a better chance to win this game. We got a cat incoming here. And the weather alert is very high winds. 23 mile per hour was the last that I wrote down. Also, wind chill, not great. Near zero is a possibility. I would think because of the increase in the possibility of snow that I've seen, that maybe that temperature has gone up just a touch. But, cold temperatures, possible snow at some point throughout the game, probably not throughout the entirety of the game, and that's still a total like 33% chance or something. But the odds of that happening have been going up increasingly over the past day, and then the high winds. So yeah, I mean, things are working in favor for Pittsburgh to possibly have an upset here. So I am willing to take Pitt at plus 9. I was willing to take them at plus 9.5, at plus 10. I guess we're getting a little bit closer to where I might start to question that, but definitely at plus 10, I was happy to. Still willing to take them at plus 9. I'm betting on Buffalo for the money line in this game. I'll take the under of, what was the under? It was at 35 points. The under is now at 33.5 points, so that's gone down. That's pretty low. If you're betting the Buffalo at the minus 9 here in this game, then I would definitely take the over on that 33.5 number. I just noticed that that's now down to 33.5. It's a really low number. That's not even 17-17 or 20-14. It's close. I don't think I would want to bet on that myself unless I was betting on my Buffalo at minus 9. Then I would say at that point I'm probably expecting this game to go over 33.5 points. So let's move on to Green Bay at Dallas. 7-point spread here. Jesus Lord, Snickers. And we got a 50.5 point over-under total for this game. And let's see, what did I write down here? Green Bay's defense might be down Jair Alexander again, which is not optimal when it comes to trying to stop CeeDee Lamb. That's not going to help. He is officially questionable for the game. A.J. Dillon's officially doubtful. That doesn't concern me at all. At the end of the day, I feel similar about this game as I did about the Cleveland versus Houston game. I could really see it going any which way, but I'm going to lean into the better defense. Defense wins championships, right? And that is Dallas's defense. So, unfortunately for my Packers, I'm predicting 31-24 for this game. Pretty high scoring. That would put us over the 50.5 point line. So obviously, I'm betting the over. I'm not betting the -7 +7 because I'm right there. Let's move on to the Los Angeles Rams versus the Detroit Lions game, which is the Sunday night game, and then we'll have one more game after that. Wrap this video up. Los Angeles Rams at Detroit -3, still sitting there, 51.5 point over under. I believe that is the highest over under of the week. And we're going to put a little upset alert here in favor of the Los Angeles Rams, upsetting Detroit, of course. Detroit at -3 here. CJGJ should be back, and that should be a huge boon for the Detroit defense. That's Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. But the offense is fairly banged up for Detroit. That being said, things are turning a little bit positive in the news cycle for a guy like Sam Laporta, which is, I think, the big piece that Detroit really could use in this game. So, as the spread suggests, this should be a close one between these two teams, especially if Detroit's without some of those offensive weapons. Offensive line, I think, looks okay. A lot of them were sitting earlier on in this week. But ultimately, what I ended up with Sam Laporta out was my thought when I set this score. I predicted 27-17 Los Angeles Rams, pretty much predicting that Detroit would go down there one of their drives and end up turning the ball over on 4th down just because they didn't have the weaponry to get it into the end zone without Sam Laporta there, just not having the threats, defense being able to lock everybody down. That was my mental reasoning for that score at the end of the day. So we're actually going to change this to 27-24, which puts us at, was that 51 points then? So just under, I guess I would go for the under here between these two teams at 51.5. You know, that is a pretty high over-under to hit the under. Pretty decent chance of that. So I think that's the way to bet on that game. Good luck this week in Detroit. That's going to bring us to the last game here, Monday, going the Philadelphia Eagles going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. But Philly still -3 favorites in this game. I think that as far as Philly goes, the outcome of this game is highly dependent upon the status and the health, ultimately, of Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown. So I'm going to go with the fact that I'm going to pretend like they are going to both be playing in this game. That does seem to be where things are trending a little bit. And so ultimately between these two, let's see here. First of all, I would take Philly at -3, and I would... How do I... No. Yes, because I have Philadelphia winning in overtime. I have the final score... should it be 34? Would they even kick an extra point? I suppose that depends if they... 34 or 35. I went 35-28 in overtime for Philadelphia. I'll just go 35. We'll just pretend they get the ball right away. We're going to go with the over at 43.5 points. And I guess money line would be Philly too, since I predicted them. At the end of the day, you know, as you can see, I'm saying let's go into overtime for this game. I think it's going to be a pretty tight game. I think Tampa Bay has got a chance, especially if A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith aren't at full health or something like that. That could go, I don't know, could be another upset here with Tampa Bay, Philadelphia, or it could be the upset instead of the Los Angeles Rams Detroit game or Green Bay. This should be an exciting weekend. I'm excited for these games. I think Buffalo is the only team that I feel confident in saying, like, I would be surprised if they lose this game. Like, money line all the way on that Buffalo. You can see -485 there for them. So, yeah, there you go. A couple of lineups that I made just to share with you. If we're going, I started off with this Sunday lineup, so I think this is just like the 3 Sunday games. And I got Matt Stafford, James Cook, Jahmyr Gibbs, Puka, Jaden Reed, Khalil Shakir, Jake Ferguson, Najee Harris, Bills defense in this lineup. I really like that one. I avoided maybe some or a couple of these guys in this lineup just because I had just taken them in a different lineup. So maybe I could have made this a little bit better, but I really wanted to focus on getting CeeDee Lamb and Amon-Ra St. Brown in here and Isaiah Pacheco. And it was pretty expensive, and I couldn't find a more discount running back really that I ended up being willing to go with for Devin Singletary. I messed with the Chris Godwin, K-Dot, Davis Allen, Devin Singletary spots several times before I finally got my quarterback down from, I believe it was Matt Stafford, or can't remember who I was going for a quarterback in this one. But somebody else, more expensive, I ended up having to knock that down a little way so that way I could just get like Davis Allen here in this flex spot. So really banking on the heavy hitters coming through for me in this. I talked a little bit about that Kansas City game, Isaiah Pacheco, thinking that they're going to be running more than normal. And I'm a little bit optimistic about Isaiah Pacheco and going up against that, the injuries from that Miami defense as well could work in his favor. Then Devin Singletary, kind of going with the narrative that Houston does win this game here. And then wanted somebody going up against that Philadelphia. Mike Evans was too expensive with everybody else that I already had on here. So had to go there. K-Dot, really, really inexpensive tight end overall. And Davis Allen. Hoping Tyler Higbee doesn't play. But either way, I can't really afford to change out of Davis Allen unless I want to go with like one of the backup Cleveland tight ends, which maybe I would probably... I think they might have a better chance if Tyler Higbee is playing than Davis Allen of doing much. So we'll see, but maybe Tyler Higbee will be out, and then Davis Allen has a chance to come through for me down here. And Texans DST to finish that one up. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Peace out.